G'day, Treasure here, and what's in the box? Okay, so we're doing a little box opening here. I know people hate these, but do it just in case this was something cool and pertinent to my channel. It might not be. I do get a lot of packages. I'm a modern shopper, and let's just cut myself. Okay. Ooh, what could it be? There's three options what this could be. So it is the Final Fantasy pack. So games. Ye Olde Dark Overlord. A very cool game. I played this recently and thought I had to buy it for when I have my mates over. It's like almost like a role-playing game. Kind of like Baron Munchausen, the role-playing game, if you played that. What else have we got? The Horn God, Chaos of the Old World. Almost bought this twice today. I actually almost bought this today, but I forgot that I was getting it sent, so lucky. But yeah, very, very cool game. Another Fantasy Flight game. And woohoo! The Dark Pharaoh Curse, whatever it's called. Oop. And you'll note that I actually already own this. But this is a revision 2 and this is revision 1. Interesting to see the difference. I've got like all the Arkham expansions, and that's it. They're my new games. Typical of Fantasy Flight. Everything, well, that's not new. Everything except this one is an expansion, so 2 expansions and Ye Dark Overlord. Awesome. Let's have a quick look at Ye Dark Overlord, because the other 2 are pretty self-explanatory. Open, damn you. Rules. Sweet. And funky little decks. I wonder if you can see that. Awesome art. The point of this game, right, is that one person plays a Dark Overlord, and he goes, "Why did my plan to harness the sun's rays to make a death ray to zap the ruby..." What no, you need a lot more imagination than I have. My mate's very good at playing it. Anyway, you think of cool things that you're plan. You make up plans that you failed. Like, you know, my plan to steal the diamond from the wizard Grenache. Why did that fail? And all the goblins, all the little goblins who work for you, the other players, and they've got these cards like hold, pass the buck, or it wasn't my fault. And they have to make up excuses and pass it around, and whoever's left kind of holding the bag at the end gets in a lot of trouble and loses the game. I'm not quite sure exactly how it plays. I have to read this, but very exciting. A very fun game. I'm starting to really get into these kind of games that are low on rules but high on player participation. So you have a bunch of friends, you're sitting around drinking after dinner, you have a few beers, you have a glass of wine, and you're talking to each other. And the actual game is in directed interaction between players, which is what this is. Sounds cool. Arkham Horror, if you don't know what Arkham Horror is, what the fuck are you doing? Seriously, Arkham Horror, go buy it. And Chaos World, this is an extremely good game as well, which is sort of under the radar of a lot of people because it's Chaos of the Old World is like I guess it's like a Euro game really, except it's set in Warhammer, so it's all vicious, and it's extremely good. It's hard to explain. Like a lot of people miss it because of the theme and you know all this kind of stuff, but it's actually a fantastic game and one of the best games of its type. Typical Fantasy Flight. It's got incredibly beautiful art. I don't know if you can see all that because there's shiny plastic on it, which I don't want to take off just yet. It's got its own cards. Yes, typical Fantasy Flight, lots of complicated stuff. Now I've actually kind of gone off complicated games like this. I'm starting to, like I said, I'm starting to get into much more into these kind of games because you know I love the complicated games like Arkham Horror and you know Eclipse and all that. But when it comes down to it, they just don't hit the table very often because it takes you 5 hours to explain it, and then it takes you a good 10 or 12 games with the group before they get into it to play it, at a nice speed. So, I'm starting to get into more casual games. I know that might shock people, but it is the fact. Speaking of Arkham Horror, I've got all my Arkham Horror stuff on the table actually because I just I played a game of this just recently. This is the best expansion. I love this expansion. So you get the Miasmatonic Horror expansion as well to improve the actual cult itself. And this is my favourite. So this and this. Everyone goes big box expansions, but no. King in Yellow, Black Goat in the Wood. These are my two favourite expansions. You do the travelling exhibit from the King, the travelling performance. Sorry, the travelling exhibit is this one. You do the travelling performance with the King in Yellow, and you do actual Black Goat of the Woods, Herald and everything. Is my favourite incarnation of Arkham Horror. It's not too hard, but it's got a lot of stuff going on, and the big board expansions are awesome, but seriously, the rules just get so complicated that unless you're playing with people who really know their stuff, it just bogs down into nothing. Okay, so that is that. Okay.